Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves one that I'm very excited for here. It is going to be the two highest ranked bots facing off against each other. So you pretty much know it's going to be good. And so we have got ourselves Xena, favorite of a lot of you guys. And in the top left, we have got none other than Eris. You're probably noticing that we do still have the bugged creep, unfortunately. It seems that this affects multiple of the replays with Eris in it. So, unfortunately, that means we're just going to have to stay with it. But I was like, you know what? I'm still going to cast these two bots because I really want to see them face off against each other. So, regardless, we'll see how Xena is going to potentially try and bring down Eris, with Eris being the macro bot, effectively. It's pretty much kill it in the early game or you'll lose in the late game, I think is generally the trend. Might have to try casting Eris against, like, Ketrock's bot or something like that to see just how it does against that Supreme Turtlage. But yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this video, make sure to go ahead and slap that like button for these two great bots facing off against each other. Leave a comment down below to help with that YouTube algorithm. Shout more bots into the comments if you want to keep this bot series going. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. You can press that bell icon to get notified whenever I put up a new video. And then consider becoming a YouTube member. You can check out the perks linked down below. We have got that fast third hatchery from Eris. No surprise there, as of course that is just part of the macro that Eris does. And then just, yeah, queen, everything normal on the way. All the while, Xena is going for a much more aggressive strategy, opening with 3 gateways, saving up lots of resources. Is it going to be Adepts or Stalkers? 2 Stalkers. And this is going to put a lot of pressure on Eris in the early game here, as it doesn't get much more aggressive than a classic Protoss early gateway attack. So we'll see how well Eris is going to scout this. I imagine it's got some programming to say, hey, there's no natural base. It has already found the one proxy pylon and a just straight up proxy gate in the face of this by Xena. Now that pylon's potentially going to die, so we'll see if it starts up another one. 2 Lings does take a bit to kill a pylon, but they certainly will kill it. These Stalkers, 2 of them are out now, but it looks like this proxy gate is not gonna happen as more Lings join. The probe is now being chased. Another pylon gets attempted, but that's just gonna get canceled. The gateway probably canceled as well. So Xena, I think, needs to start up a new gateway, or it looks like it's moving out with another probe, which is cool to see. That other one, I'm not sure where that ended up. Did it recall that, or did it just run all the way home? Anyway, it's now moving out with Stalkers to support it. And Eris is just making lots of Lings behind this, so definitely aware of what's going on. Say tag Eris versus mass Stalkers. So the amount of builds that Eris has got programmed into it must be quite impressive. If it's got a specific response to mass Stalker, that's really, really enjoyable. And that, as a Zerg, pretty much just means keep building more Zerglings. And oh man, this could get really problematic here for Xena, as those Lings are already chasing the Stalkers. Looks like the Stalkers do get out of there, kind of on the good graces of Eris. Of course, programming a bot to know when to engage is very difficult to do, so those Lings, they got the right idea for the most part, really going after those Stalkers. Looks like these 2 will be caught and killed, so a very solid defense from Eris so far. Stalkers trying to engage these Lings, but we are seeing why trying to play mass Stalker on one base, just in StarCraft 2 in general, does not work out very well against Zerg, as mass Lings really does counter Stalkers here. Xena, we'll see how well it micros. It does have 6 Stalkers. It is very, very difficult, I'll say again and again and again, to program a bot to know when to commit on in, because of course, if your bot overcommits, you'll just lose games because of it. But then of course, you actually got to be killing stuff. So Eris is diving on top of these Stalkers, gets 2 of them. Xena is trading out with these lings as well as it can, getting lots of shots off. It killed one queen, now looking for another. But it seems when it gets onto creep, that's where the trouble starts. It's like another queen gonna get killed off. Stalkers now retreating from these lings, kind of one being sacrificed there with the majority of the lings chasing it. These lings now gonna keep going on in here. But this game is actually looking a little closer than I thought it would be. Keep in mind, Eris only on 23 workers. Xena one basing it on 22, trying to reach that critical mass. But oh, it went really far onto creep here, and this could be where the problem is for Xena, as those stalkers are surrounded. They're trying to run big surround by Eris. Gonna kill pretty much all the stalkers and the micro. They weren't even shooting most of the time. So Xena's saying that didn't work. Yeah, no, no duh, Xena, as that. Yeah, we'll see if there's going to be a follow-up here, but so far Eris's defense has been on point as usual. I'm not saying that couldn't have worked for Xena, but like if it kept poking at the natural and then baiting the lings out, but the fact that it committed on in there was not the right move. So Xena not gonna be deterred though, gonna warp in more and more of these stalkers. I think attacking the third would be a lot better than attacking the natural base. Eris just making more and more lings. 74 lings out already. A ling building challenge, says Eris. Xena now moving on in, actually is attacking the third base, trying to grab a queen. However, in come the lings once again. Xena saying that didn't work, a little bit preemptively again, but yeah, it definitely didn't, as those stalkers do surround and or get surrounded and get killed off. And this really is why we don't see mass stalkers for the most part from Protoss. You need to trade incredibly well against mass lings, so you got to give it to Eris's bot author for having really good behavior here. And I think we're seeing why it's the top bot. I know that Xena isn't dead, but it's up against a 3-base Zerg with 84 Zerglings and no follow-up plan, as Eris's macro is just god tier, that's for sure. Xena really needs to start taking better trades, but it's lost 4,000 resources to 2,000. That just goes to show how good lings are against stalkers. And this kind of makes me want to try and stalker rush Xena, or Eris, pardon me. I may just have to try that. If you guys want to see a video of that, let me know in the comments down below. But of course, Xena's still making more stalkers, but it's kind of just like a trickle of stalkers. It's not even mined out yet, but it's just, you can't make that much stuff off one base in Legacy of the Void. And now Eris up to 40 drones. That's just going to let it make, oh gosh, even more Zerglings. Creep is spreading. The blackness is spreading here as these lings come forward once more. The stalkers are in quite a defensive position, but it's also just looking like one of those cases where the micro that Xena attempts to do, and all bots are guilty of this, it can almost be worse than just taking the hands off the wheel and letting the default Starcraft 2 unit behavior kick in at times. Like those stalkers, when they were trapped in that corner, they were trying to run away. At some point you got to program your bot to realize, like, yeah, these units are stuck, just do what you can. And so yeah, we shall see, as Eris looking pretty darn good here, up to 60 drones, 90 lings. The stalker count is still rising. I mean, it's 17 against 90 lings. If those are microed correctly, I'll say there's a chance. As Xena has been, or Eris has been investing super duper heavily in the drones. Stalkers microing back once again. A couple get caught. The rest of them are retreating, but look at this. They're all just retreating. There's barely any shots off getting done by these stalkers, and it's like, at some point you actually have to trade. Otherwise, you may as well just not have lasers at all on those stalkers. So, Eris now saying, time for some more lings, getting up that 4th base. And I think this game is going to end with more of a whimper than a bang for Eris. Of course, Xena is a random bot, so there's other strategies that we'll use against Eris. So I may have to cast some more of those games. And if you guys do want to see those, let me know down below. These two are definitely very good bots. Like, this aggressive behavior from Xena is very good. Eris just has a really strong response to it. The mass stalker gets countered by the lings, and so I think we are going to see why Eris is #1 here, as eventually Xena will run out of gas, and it is, well, metaphorical gas, as it's running out of minerals now. Gas actually lasts for way longer in Legacy of the Void than minerals. That was something I noticed the other day. Like, they nerfed minerals hard to make players have to expand more, but gas just keeps going on for like 15 minutes. You can mine on your gas geysers before they run out. So that is kind of interesting. Now, let's see here. Yeah, Stalker count going up. It's half the supply. 120 Lings against 20 Stalkers. I get the feeling we know how this one's gonna end, but of course we're gonna wait it out and see just exactly how it ends. Another Stalker being warped in. In goes all these Stalkers. If the positioning's good, the Stalkers could stand a chance, but it's just so much DPS is lost retreating. A human could definitely micro this better. Look at this. The Stalkers, they're just doing nothing. So we're seeing a bit of a fault here as far as Xena's behavior goes. And it's a little disappointing. But ladies and gentlemen, these are bot games. Someone worked very hard to program this. And it's actually incredibly difficult. So you got to give it to these bots. But Xena may need some tweaks if it wants to make the strategy work. May just need to go for a different strategy as like Mass Stalker against Ling doesn't work, but you add some Zealots, some Adepts, maybe, just maybe you can do it. But that is going to be that, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see how long it takes Eris to lag my game out with its 110,000 APM, by gosh, before it goes across the map and kills Xena, which is now warping in back at home. And it really goes to show the two different designs on these bots. Like, Eris is designed to win the game by macroing up. Xena's is designed to win the game by not letting its opponent macro up. But if, of course, that fails, it's just pretty much dead. Eris has taken its sweet time to go for the kill. It's at 200 supply. It's got to attack eventually. Where's the attack? Alright, one Hydra. One Hydra apparently decided to go for it. That didn't work out too well for it. Now one Zergling. As Xena is holding on. Now moving out with a probe, I think attempting to get up another pylon or something out on the map. But we do see Lings have finally breached in. Yeah, look at that, just non-stop retreat on Xena's Stalkers. Maybe trying to play the opponent's AI more than just doing what's right, because of course a lot of bots would give up at that point, but Eris just keeps on committing. Infestors hanging out. Lings killing off everything, and man, my game is lagging with all these Lings and that 100,000 APM. But GG. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone.